The wet blasting didn't work the way I had hoped. I had hoped it would have a nice, easy cleanup. It turns out that wet sand doesn't dry all that quickly, and you're ending up scooping it up. And with the dry sand, I mean, I can shovel it up, I can screen it, I can put it back into a bucket, I can reuse it, I can just kind of keep going. I used up half my sand. I didn't get half the bonnet, the inner, just the inner. I didn't even get half of it done. And there's wet sand, and I can't reuse it, I can't screen it. So, and in addition to that, I have discovered, you know, you wait a few days and it's still wet and the inside of your hood's all rusted, which is kind of what I figured would happen. So I've given back the pressure washer. I'm gonna go back to dry blasting. I'm gonna dry blast over top of the rust just to get rid of the rust, because the nice thing about sandblasting is it doesn't rust right away. Like, you get a good long time, some years before it starts to rust, as long as you don't throw water at it. And move forward with just dry blasting. The cleanup's different, but not easier with the wet. I know I could put it out on a tarp and dry it in the sun, but that's kind of negated by the fact I have two budget Clydesdales, otherwise known as Irish Wolfhounds, running around, and they will spread the sand everywhere. So yeah, these guys here, they might distribute the sand around the yard a little bit. They're not real docile when it comes to dirt, although they do sleep like speed bumps. That's where we're at. We're gonna move forward. All right, so it's been a couple of weeks. The rust is not getting a whole lot worse, but I'm still gonna blast it off. Oh, and by the way, I got in about 2 in the morning, so a little late start in the day. It's about noon, but for those of you who think that building trains for a living is fun and glorious, I've got those running all the way up my arm and underneath my armpit and along my rib cage. So moving a little slow today. I've got a little sore. Had a lot of work last night, but anyway, the sand that came off the floor, parts of the floor are still actually wet. You can see here, and I'm still trying to scrape sand up, and it's really wet. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way to dry it. I'll just lay it out on a tarp. In the meantime though, I have a couple of buckets still dry. So I'm going to dry blast in here to try and clean that up. I'm not going to run the camera during the sandblasting because the sand will just get into it. I don't want to wreck it. So you can imagine what sandblasting looks like. I mean, you saw me do it with a wet blaster, so it's not a big deal. I got all that done, basically almost half. It was taking a while to get that paint off. I was just kind of focusing on that. I went through 1 bucket of sand, so about the same as I did on the wet blasting. I had a bit of a pucker moment. You can see the flash rust, by the way, from the wet blasting, and I started dry blasting. There's sand, as I said, there would be everywhere. And then I had this really massive bang. And I'm not gonna lie, I jumped. Fortunately, between me and my compressor is a car body. Oh, by the way, you see all the little spots of rust on there? That's from the splash when I wet blasted it. So I got to re-dry blast that because it's that stuff spreads everywhere. But yeah, so I was working this, heard a big bang, and get up and come over to my compressor. And of course, upon hearing such a big bang, I immediately, and a big hissing sound, I went over and shut my compressor off to find that the line had basically blown apart. Fortunately, there's shards of metal down there, kind of spread all over the place. But yeah, my compressor blew its line going from the cylinder into the tank, so I'm gonna have to replace that. And while I'm at it, I should probably look at some other things. There's plenty of oil in it, I know that, because I do regularly service it, so not a lot of a fun moment. So I don't know if it got hot or if there was some corrosion inside or if it's just old, but the sandblasting has stopped until I can get a replacement part. I've got to go into the nearest city that has the ability to have the supplies I need for my compressor. I got to go there in a couple of days, so I'm going to go. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get one of those radiators that goes on here, and I'm going to actually cool the air going from the cylinder into the tank. If I got to replace it anyway, I may as well do what I was thinking of anyway and get an air dryer. So that'll go a long way. All right, no compressor. Let's move it out into the sun since I'm not having to recycle sand. And I don't care where the paint dust goes. Nice sunny day out. It's obviously fall. Yellow trees, but it's getting chilly at night, but it's still nice during the day, so I can get some work done out here. So I got the electric grinder set up, and we're gonna suit up and take a little bit of paint off. Even strokes all the way along, no pressure pushing down at all. You don't want to heat the metal, you don't want to take the metal away. So nice even strokes, just like I did on the rest of the car. We'll just kind of keep on going. Okay, I haven't been showing you the act of grinding because it's kind of boring to watch, so why bother, right? But first thing, don't be afraid to change these. I've gone through 4 of them already on this hood, because as soon as they get dull, what's going to happen is they're actually going to not take paint off as effectively, and they're actually going to start grinding your metal more, and they'll heat it up too, so it'll warp. So keep your wheel sharp. The other thing I want to point out is on this car, and there've been quite a few spots. Here's one, there's one, there's some red down here. Over here, it's like whoever fixed this hood before my brother got it did it with the point end of a hammer and then just tried to fill it. The other thing they did is this, I went lightly over the paint, and this was like all over this hood. This is rust that they painted over. Now I encapsulated so it didn't spread, but one little paint chip and that would have run underneath the paint, something fierce. So they didn't properly prepare their metal, whoever did it, before they primed this, because this red is primer. Yeah, it's pretty bad job was done here before. I didn't realize just how bad this bonnet was. It's pretty warped and banged up, but you know what? Everything's fixable. Everything's possible, just costs more. In this case, it'll cost time, not money, to fix it for me, but yeah, it is what it is. We'll see what the other one's like after I get this one done. Alrighty, just brought her back in now. The outside all hit with the grinder. And I gotta run now because while I was grinding, my phone rang. Thought I wasn't going to work until 11 tonight. Turns out I'm going to work at 7. Actually 5:30 for 7:30. So they called me at 5:30. Gotta be at work at 7:30. So get this brought in. I got about an hour to get to work now. So off I go. Okay, still waiting for the parts for the compressor so I can finish sandblasting that. They should be another week. In the meantime, I'm gonna start grinding this off, but before I grind, there's lots of loose Bondo on here. It's not lead, but I'll save myself a lot of hassle and a lot of grinding wheels if I can kind of peel it off first, and at least some of it. And see what happened along here. It looks like they left the seam and then covered it over the little ridge thing. So we'll find out. It looks like they actually just bonded the whole thing flat. So yeah, look at the thickness of that. So we're gonna end up seeing which one of these is in better shape, and scrapey. Wow, that is a lot of Bondo and a lot of layers. There's some metal there a little bit in there, but this is all filler. Looks like at some point this thing was red primer, blue primer. Yeah, so we got a lot of digging to do on this one. It's going to be a little longer than the last one took, I think. I'll get back to this. As you saw a second ago, my compressor went boom. So I got some stuff to remediate that. New purchase day. Had to go into the big city yesterday. So I got myself 8 feet of copper line. It is the same size as the old. It's 3/8 inch outside diameter. I took the holy one in, made sure. So same size, and got myself just a cheap tubing bender from there. I could have got the same on Amazon, but it was cheaper there, so I got it there. I got a new check valve, and I got 2 compression fittings. These go into, this is the same size as the opening on the compressor, so we should be good with that. So now the next thing we're going to do is on order is a 16 loop cooling radiator. It's basically a transmission cooler. It's coming from Amazon, and an automatic drain valve. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount the radiator here in front of this fan. I may even open this up a little bit with some snips. I don't know, give better airflow through, but it's going to mount to this, and then the line is going to come out of the cylinder, go into the radiator. It'll come around, it'll go through the radiator, it'll come out, and then here I'm going to mount the drain. It's going to be an automatic drain, as I said, and then it's going to come around and go into the tank. So what that will do, and I've seen quite a bit of this online, instead of putting 300-degree Fahrenheit air into the tank, it'll cool the air, it'll get a lot of the water out. So that is the plan. Those parts are on order, and I'll do a video of that when I do when everything arrives. In the meantime, yeah, it's new stuff day, so I get to look at new stuff.